I'm a jealous husband. It's true. Yeah, let me tell you something. One time I thought my wife was cheating on me. Yes, nigga, yes. That was one of the worst days of my fucking life. I couldn't take it. And I'm embarrassed about it now, but I can talk about it. You know what I did? It's fucked up, but I did do this. I waited. I waited for her to fall asleep. And when I waited a long time, she's Asian. I couldn't tell if she was asleep or not. I was looking at her. And when I was sure she was asleep, you know what I did? I stole the iPhone, took it downstairs and started trying out passwords to see if I could open it. I couldn't figure out the password. Then I remembered, it's an iPhone. This shit has facial recognition. I was just like, oh. And that shit opened right up. And I saw a text message in there from a fella named Earl. I don't know anybody named Earl. I woke her up out of her sleep. I said, wake the fuck up. Who the fuck is Earl? And she said, David, what are you talking about? Oh, don't you play dumb with me, bitch. I done opened your phone. Who is Earl? And she said, oh my God, David. That's gay Earl from the hair salon. I said, word, what am I, a dummy? How am I supposed to know this nigga is gay? And she was calm. She said, read his text and look at his pictures. I started reading the text. This fella sure does spell girl with a U a lot. And I switched over and looked at his pictures, and I couldn't believe it. This fella looked gay and still pictures. His mouth was open in every shot. And then I knew she was telling the truth. And then I felt like dumb. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Here, take your phone. I'm sorry, just go back to sleep. I'm sorry, I guess I just been insecure because all this cheating I've been doing. Good night. And she didn't let me leave. She said, well, since you want to wake a bitch up, and then she pulled my phone from under her pillow. I said, what the fuck? She said, who is this bitch in this picture? I said, how'd you open that phone? She said, it was easy, nigga. All I had to do was mash my nose and go like this, and then open right up. I said, what the fuck? She said, who is this bitch? I said, give me that. Oh, girl, relax. That ain't no bitch. This is my friend, Deborah. I'm gonna close tonight with a long story. Do you mind? No. All right, it's a long one, so pretend that I finished, because I gotta go get a cigarette, all right? I'm not done, but just act like it. I would prefer staying in since we're acting. Thank you very much. Good night. Thanks for not giving me a standing O, motherfuckers. This is the worst. It's all right. It's all right. I just wanted to smoke. You like that, don't you? Okay. Before I did Killing Them Softly, when I was 22, HBO gave me the biggest opportunity of my life at that time. They gave me a half-hour special, but this shit was not like a special, you know what I mean? It was like, it was generic. It didn't even have a title. It was just Dave Chappelle. And I shot it in San Francisco at a place called Broadway Studios, which is on the second floor of a building. And beneath Broadway Studios is a nightclub. And the special was only supposed to be 30 minutes. And I got ready, I practiced, I did all the shit I was supposed to do. And the night that I taped, 20 minutes into my 30-minute set, I'll never forget this, music started blasting from the nightclub underneath. You could hear it real loud, and it fucked my whole show up, and I was devastated. I was a young man. I really believed in what I was doing, and I thought that my dream had been killed. So when I got off stage, I ran down the steps to the alley behind Broadway Studios and where the control trucks are parked, and I kicked that motherfucking door open, and I started yelling at all the producers. I was nobody in show business, just a guy that believed in myself. I said, man, you fucked everything up. That fucking music, what the fuck were you thinking? And there was a guy who was a big-time producer, I ain't saying no names, and he stood up, and he said, hey, kid, sit the fuck down. He said, we didn't ruin anything. He said, we made a deal with that nightclub to not play music, and they didn't honor the deal. And I said, who didn't honor the deal? And he pointed to a guy. I'll never forget it. It was an old white man sitting in the Ford Taurus by himself. And he said, that guy right there. And I didn't waste no time or ask no questions. I went to that Ford Taurus, and I beat on that window, and I said, open the door, motherfucker, I want to talk to you. And that old man looked at me for 1 second and wisely drove the fuck off. And left me in the alley cussing at anybody who would listen. And 2 minutes later, literally 120 seconds later, couldn't have been any more than that, the doors of the kitchen in the alley of that nightclub underneath Broadway Studios flung open. And that old man was standing there, that same old man with reinforcements. He had 2 big goons with him, and he looked at me, and he was calm as a cucumber. He said, you, come here. I want to talk to you. I didn't know anything about the streets at this age. But I found out later in my life that these men were Russian mobsters. And I don't know what you guys know about the Russian mob, but these are the niggas that killed Denzel in Training Day. And all the producers knew what I was up against. They said, Dave, do not go in there. And I said, fuck y'all. And I walked right into that kitchen, and they closed the doors behind me, and it got dark as fuck in there. And I knew, I'm not dumb, I knew I was in a bad situation. But you have to understand, I believed in what I was doing, and I didn't give a fuck. Just kept cussing at these motherfuckers, telling them how they ruined my life. And that old man couldn't believe that I was talking all of this shit. And as soon as I took a breath, he stopped me gently. He said, hey, kid, listen. Your friends lied to you. He said, we made a deal, but your friends never paid me. And when he said that, I realized I was locked in a kitchen. I realized he was telling the truth, which would make me wrong. And the very moment that I realized I was wrong, for the first time, I was afraid. You see, it's a funny thing if you believe you're absolutely right. You can get drunk off the feeling of how right you are. That's why gay people are so mean. But I didn't buckle. You guys would have been very proud of me. I was scared, but I didn't buckle. I said, well then, sir, I owe you an apology. But I believe that no matter what reason that music was playing, it ruined my life. And that old man looked at me with sympathy in his eyes. And he walked over to me and he gently placed his hand on my cheek, which I gotta tell you, is a very emasculating thing to do. I was standing there looking at this nigga's hand on my cheek like that. And he said, you are a real man. And he tapped me on my cheek. Real soft. Just like that. The doors opened back up. The light from the alley flooded into the kitchen. And I just walked out alive. I lived to fight another day. And in that moment, I learned one of the most valuable lessons of my life, and I have to share it with you. And that lesson is this. In your life, in any given moment, the strongest dream in that moment wins that moment. I am a very powerful dreamer. Yeah, I'm not lying. I dreamed tonight, this very night, as a 14-year-old boy, and I am living it as a 50-year-old man. My dreams are very strong. Today, I walked all around Washington. I used to be poor in this city, and all day people just said, hey, Dave, like they knew me personally, and I felt like I knew them. And I say to myself, my God, Dave, what a powerful dream. But then sometimes I feel regular. Just feel like myself. Maybe I'll smoke some weed and be in some nightclub and feel shy. But I'll look across the nightclub and I'll see some guy that no one's ever heard of. But this nigga worked all week and got bottle service. And his bitches bringing Moet with sparklers to him. I picture in my mind he's Persian. He's doing some kind of weird Persian dance. And he got 6 bitches at his table because he got so much liquor, and they all call him saying, go Cena, go Cena. And I'll be looking across the room like, oh my God, I'm in that guy's dream. I can hear him telling his friends, hey, how was the club last night? Man, that shit was fantastic. I had bottle service. I seen Dave Chappelle across the club looking at me like, ooh, who was that? And that's the trick to life. You have to be wise enough to know when you were living in your dream. And you have to be humble enough to accept when you're in someone else's. It's why I don't judge between Will Smith and Chris Rock. Because you guys look at them as big ideas, but I look at them as fellow dreamers. I can't judge.